where are you making excuses for not fully obeying the Lord? Where are you making excuses to not fully obey? To be partially obedient, maybe, but I'm trying, Lord, but you're not fully obedient, and partial obedience is disobedience, and that small area is going to bring disaster in a large way. I mean, God has commanded us to share our faith. You know, that command is not for the pastors. It's not for missionaries. It's not for what you consider the spiritual varsity team. It's for everyone who claims to know Jesus. Every believer is commanded to share their faith. But did you know that the overwhelming majority, is like 90-some% of Christians never share their faith with anyone? They never tell anyone the gospel of Jesus Christ because they're afraid. They're afraid they might lose their job. They're afraid they might lose a friend. They're afraid they might get mocked. They just never, they sort of, you know, they're sort of secret Christians. They sort of keep it down on the DL, right? I mean, keep it down. Not biblical, right? I mean, did you know that the Bible says to forgive? It commands us to be a forgiving people. We have been forgiven much. We should forgive much. But are you kidding me, Pat? I can't forgive that. I'm just not there yet. I cannot forgive that, and that's disobedience. And small areas of disobedience produce large areas of disaster. The Bible says not to have sex before marriage, not to have sex outside of marriage. But, if I do that, listen, I might lose him. If I don't do that, I might lose him. And it's just natural. I mean, the Bible was written so many years ago. It's just natural, right, Pat? The Bible says not to marry or date someone who is not a believer if you're a Christian. I mean, the book of Judges is a case point for that, right? I mean, how the influence of those who don't follow the Lord will walk into your life and utterly destroy through their influence. And the Bible says, do not marry someone who is not a believer. Oh, but there's no Christian boys here. There's no Christian dudes here, right? I'm afraid of being alone. We can come up with any excuse, the Bible says, to tithe, but I can't afford it. Or like the Israelites, it might be economically beneficial for me to not, right? The Bible says to serve your church, but I just don't have enough time. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but I think you get the point, right? So here's the question is, what area of your life are you saying, God, I love you, but just not that much? And make no mistake about it, folks, if you've got areas of disobedience that you know are there and you allow them to persist, don't think that's not the reality. You're saying, God, I love you, just not that much. I love this more. And I promise you that small area of disobedience will produce a large area of disaster.